welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisa and you're watching Growing on Vancouver Island. I decided I'm going to start a vlog for this week. I've never tried a real vlog style video before. It's going to be kind of like a week in the life of someone who loves gardening. It's going to be mostly garden stuff. I might throw in a little bit of like non-related gardening things, but it's going to be mostly gardening stuff. We are going to do a little watering this afternoon before I go to work, and then I'll probably catch you tomorrow after I sleep. So let's do just a little bit of watering. And my supervisor has decided to do a little garden renovating of his own. He is digging right now, and he rarely ever digs. This location, we used to have a hole that he dug when he was about 1 year old. He had a hole when he was a puppy, and then we ended up filling it, not realizing that he dug this hole in the shape of his body, and it was like a lazy boy recliner in the dirt for him, that he would go there and just chill out in the summertime. So this year we ended up covering his hole because our neighbors got a dog of their own, and he is a little bit scared of the dog. So he stopped going in his hole because he didn't feel safe anymore. But this is the first time that he's tried to dig it out again since we covered it up. I'm thinking he's getting a little more comfortable with his canine neighbor, and he's going to chill out in his original hole. It's not very deep what he just dug. It used to be literally like an crevice in the ground that was the shape of his body, but we covered it up and planted grass, and he just decided that he wants it back. So that's fine. He gets his hole back if he wants it. Welcome to day 2 of this week's garden vlog. I just finished my morning-afternoon tea from my last night shift, and now I'm going to have a little drink to give me some energy so I can go out and tackle a garden project this afternoon. So let me show you what I'm going to drink this morning. So this is the drink I'm going to have today to give me a little energy to get through the day and actually be productive when I'm tired. It's called NRC. This is not sponsored at all. This is just a product that I have loved and has gotten me through many years of nursing, and probably has contributed to my pretty strong immune system. So here is my 5 variety cherry tree. I don't know how well you can see it in this lighting. I'm going to prune off all of these damaged leaves. We're going to get out my pole pruner and see how much trimming we can do on this tree. A little drink to get me going on this pruning task. And here is the tool I'm going to use for this project. This is just a standard pole pruner. It's got this little thing at the end. You sort of put the branch in here. And then you push the string and it will cut it off. So let's see how it works. Here we have our first branch that's been cut off. Doesn't look as bad as I thought, but let me show you one of the leaves. This is what one of the damaged leaves looks like. Can't really pick it up, but there's like a zillion insect bugs in there, so I think it's a really good thing that we're getting rid of these, because the poor tree needs a little bit of tender loving care to get back to its state of being very healthy. So let me continue. So So here's what I've done so far. You actually can't make out that I've done that much, but I have taken off quite a few branches. And here he goes. He is an excavating machine this afternoon. He really wants his old hole back, which is very nice. I don't mind at all. Here is my coconut ice peach tree. This tree I planted in, I believe it was 2020 if I'm not mistaken, and then last year we had 17 of the most delicious tropical tasting peaches I've ever eaten. This year the tree had a terrible year, was absolutely covered in peach leaf curl, and has made an awesome recovery. But unfortunately the late hard frost we got, aside from damaging the leaves, took away all of the fruit. We had hundreds of flowers and we have 4 peaches left on the tree, but that's okay, at least we have something. So my goal for this tree, although it is super healthy now, is actually to try to rein in the growth a little bit. It's growing really well, but I want to try to start shaping it. I want to encourage it to grow where it's growing on this side, under that overhang. It needs to go more in that direction and less out into the great outdoors. Peach trees on Vancouver Island do much better if they're growing under an overhang because of the protection from early cold and frost and wetness. So I'm going to take a little bit of growth off the top and probably out from the sides as well on this tree, and see how we get it shaped. For this project I have just some hand pruners and my pole pruner. So let's see how much we take off this tree. I think the leaves, oh no, it's actually okay. I thought the stems might be a little too green to get a good clipping, but they're actually okay. They are easy to clip, so that's a good thing. So, whoa, oops, it's a little hard, the dexterity with this thing. It's actually a decent amount of weight to it. Now I'm going to do a little more detail work with my hand clippers. Let's take a little look at the tree now. Starting over here, I've thinned it out a little bit. I'm trying to encourage those branches against the house to keep on growing and have less branches coming out widthwise. We have a wasp's nest right in this little corner under the eaves. I don't see any wasps in it, so I'm thinking it's old, which is probably a good thing. That being said, I'm not going to knock it down today because on the unlikely event there is still a wasp in it, I don't want to get stung. We're going to start off today's watering session underneath my plum tree. I've got my hose on full blast and I'm just going to let the water, I don't know if you can see, and I'm trying to move a little closer. I'm just going to let the water go directly into the planting hole of the tree. It seems to water the trees best if the water goes right into the mulch of where the tree is. And I just do this for a few minutes to try to get the best results for the tree. Even mature fruit trees need quite a bit of water. And while I'm at it, I'm going to do a little pruning. I'll show you in a minute. Here I found the first plum that has fallen out of the tree, and it definitely is not ripe yet. It is very hard and not at all ripe. So we're at the base of my plum tree now, and I've got the water going right into the mulch to give it a nice saturation. And while I'm down here, I've got my clippers, and I'm going to give these little plant foliage bits a trimming. These are called suckers, and they often grow under fruit trees, particularly plum trees, and you don't really want them to grow under your tree because they sap all the nutrients out of the soil and your tree doesn't really get anything from it. So they're really just kind of nuisance little shoots. So ideally you want to get rid of them. I've never used a chemical to get rid of them because I only do organic gardening, but technically you could use a chemical to kill them permanently, but I just like to cut them and get rid of them every few months. So let's give them a good trimming. While we water the tree. It's actually quite satisfying to use a pair of pruners and to get pruning something. It always feels good, like you've accomplished a lot after you do a really good pruning on a plant. So I feel pretty satisfied with this prune job here. So I think we are going to move on to another part of the garden and do some more watering. Little man is a little thirsty. He is thinking about having a little drink himself. He particularly loves drinking from the hose. We are up in my container garden section, and I'm just going to give this little area a little water. Right now what you're seeing actually is right beside the patio area. These are my Windmill palm trees. I have 3 of them here. They're very tiny. Whoa, it's windy. And I grew these from little tiny seedlings that I bought on Facebook Marketplace for like $3. And it's taken, I want to say 4 years, but they're actually growing pretty well. So those are one of the few tropically items I have in my yard. So here is what my front rock garden is looking at like right now. It's looking very tired. The plants are in desperate need of a trim. I have this plant, which I believe is a flower. I think it bloomed last year. I have no idea what it is or where it came from. It's all over my pathway, but I actually kind of like it because it's one of the few green things right now. And it gets these white flowers. And I was thinking this year I would try to make some bouquets with them because I've never used them in bouquets. And I have so many of them. They're all along this pathway here. All along. So tonight's plan is to clean up this rock garden. It's a hot mess, kind of like my vegetable garden, but I see more potential here for cleaning than the vegetable garden right now. So we're gonna actually try to tidy it up. I've got a bucket and some pruners, and we're gonna see how tidy we can get this. Pods are the coolest things. The larger size peony poppies produce huge little pods of seeds, and I'm actually gonna save this. It's rock hard, pretty hard, and I think I'm gonna try a whole natural themed Christmas tree in the wintertime, and I think this would be a really cool ornament for the tree. I could turn it into something really fun. It's such a unique little piece of nature, and I'm very happy to have it. So I'm not going to compost this. I'm going to save it. For today's vlog video, it's almost 9 in the morning, and we're going to start the day hopefully going for a swim in the river. Not a guarantee. I'm at one of our local, less known about river spots, but there are 2 other cars here, which could be good or bad because I have to be on the lookout for sketchy people, dogs off the leash, black bears, and fires that have been left unattended. All of those issues I sometimes have encountered in the woods when I'm by myself with my supervisor. So I have to be very careful when I go to these less known about areas where there are literally no people. There is cell phone reception here. I did have to call in a fire once from this area, and that was a little sketchy in the summertime. Did have a sketchy encounter with a person from that you might think was in a horror movie once here, and that was quite frightening. So I am going to attempt to go down to the river here. It may not work out. I may try a different location. So this is the start of our little hike. It's gonna be, if we are successful in going to our destination, it's about 20 minutes of a hike into the woods, and then hopefully we hit the river where I want to go. I know exactly where we're going, but hopefully everything goes okay. So I just arrived at a different location on the river. This is Nanaimo River Regional Park, and I left the last location because although nothing bad happened, I just had a feeling something bad was gonna happen. Like when your intuition kicks in and is telling you, don't do this, like don't do this, you should really listen to it. I've had enough experiences in my life that I've learned to listen to the intuition. It's generally not wrong. So I just decided not to go into that location. I've been there many times. I have had a really sketchy experience there once. And maybe it's just anxiety, but I don't want to relive that again. So I decided to turn around after like not even 10 minutes down the trail. So we're at this park now. There's at least 5 cars here, which is probably not ideal for us going swimming because we can't be around too many off-leash dogs. Zipper's a little dog reactive, so we might just go for a nice walk. We finally got to the river after a couple different destinations. This is our 3rd place. That might actually work out. It's a newer place to me. A ton of geese in the water today. This is not the location where we're going, but we're going downstream from here, so hopefully it works out. There's actually multiple locations in this area where I could take the little supervisor man. Only one location where I can swim, but it's all about him swimming. So we finally arrived at this gorgeous destination. This part of the river is hardly river-esque at all, but it definitely is part of the river. And there's lots of fish in here. I'm gonna try to show you actually. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up. Our river is so clear, the water. I wish I had an underwater camera because you can see a lot of fish here. I've seen river otters here before with different locations, same river. But it is one of the most crisp and clean bodies of water around. So I'm definitely gonna try swimming here. I don't know if anyone's gonna come. Hopefully not, but right now we have it to ourselves. So hopefully I get in a little swimming with my supervisor before anyone comes. So that was a very short swim, but we both did go in the water, so that was worth it. But nobody else is here, but I heard a good rustling in the bush, and I don't know what it is. I thought it might be an off-leash dog, but no dogs have come. Could be a bear, or it could just be some other animals. So we're gonna go, but I do feel refreshed, and I know that this little man also feels refreshed. So it was definitely worth coming, even though it took us 3 destinations to get here. It is so beautiful in this area that I have no regrets. A lot of driving, but still a good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the vlog. For today's vlog, we're at a local park called Jack's Point, right down by the ocean, and I'm gonna try to give you a little West Coast vibes this morning. So let's go for a stroll by the ocean. Super low tide this morning. Normally when it's not low tide, all of what you see that looks like beach and land is completely immersed in water. Like right now you probably could walk from here all the way to the other side, which I'm gonna say is actually probably a few kilometers. It doesn't look that long, but it's actually quite a distance. I have gone into that sandy area down there below, and it is quite far that you can walk. I've never tried to go right to the other side. I usually try to go out to the ocean part over there, but it's also a little bit dangerous to walk there because the sand is almost like quicksand, like you sink in many areas. So you do have to be careful if you're walking in that area down there. Just give you a little shot of all these geese. There's a ton of geese down here this morning, enjoying the waters of the low tide. This is going to be a good workout. This park is famous for all of their staircases. This is kind of like a triple story staircase, and we've got at least 3 of these triple story staircases in this park. So we're gonna have a good workout today. So we've entered a more wooded area along the water, and it's nice and cool in here. But we will get back to the watered area pretty soon. Here's another little view of this area. We're getting a little closer. Zipper, don't go close to the edge. We're getting a little closer to the ocean. We're gonna venture down to one of the beaches now. This might not be what you think of as a beach, but this actually is a beach, the beginning of a beach. This park is part of a river estuary where the river meets the ocean. So we get all kinds of interesting things that wash up on our beaches, and the ocean is actually over here. So let's look at what's on the beach. So it looks like a rusty fire pit has washed up on the beach. This definitely was not here intentionally. This had to have come from the ocean because it's actually not legal to have fires on the beaches on central Vancouver Island. You can do that on the west coast of the island and a few other places, but central Vancouver Island we don't have beach fires. So this was definitely here from the ocean. Looks like it's been in here for a pretty good amount of time. You never know what you're gonna find on the beach. Come on, let's walk, Zipper. So we're actually down on the real beach now, and we're gonna see how close to the ocean we can get. It's pretty far away still. I'll try to zoom in. So this is no zoom on my camera, and if I press the zoom, I only have 8 times zoom, but we've got quite a walk to get to the water. I'm sure we can do it, but let's see how far we get down on the beach. Right now I am walking through Oyster City. This is just like an endless sea of empty oyster shells that wash up here. We have a lot of oysters on our west coast. Here we have one of the BC ferries going by. This is a small ferry. I'll see if I can zoom in more. We're still far away. And this ferry goes to Gabriola Island, which is just about maybe a 20-minute ferry ride from Nanaimo, where I live. So quite a common sight when you live on Vancouver Island. We have a ton of ferries here, and they're kind of like our water highways. We have ferries to Vancouver and ferries to all of the little islands. We have a ton of little islands off the coast of Vancouver Island. I thought I would stop and show you these little holes in the sand. These actually are significant. They're not just randomly placed holes. Underneath these holes are alive clams, and at certain times of the day they will shoot their water into the air. It's actually pretty cool to see. I don't think we're going to see any today, but it's actually very neat to see when the clams shoot their water into the air, and you'll see them all over the beach, these little holes. Here is a very common sight on our beaches, little baby crabs. They are everywhere on the beaches. They are pretty cool. Whoa, I think it's hiding under my shoe. Let me see if I can pick it up. Whoops. Nope, it's hiding. It does not want to be picked up. Very cute little creatures. I thought I'd give you a little look at these little, I don't want to call them caves. They're not caves. They're like sandstone enclosures or in crevices that are in the coast of this park all over. Sometimes there's animals like raccoons and other little critters in these. I have gone inside them to take pictures before. I don't think I'm going to do that today, but they're actually pretty cool. They're probably in other parks too, but this park has probably more than most other places that I'm aware of. This is actually a really pretty view here. I think I might actually stop, sit on a rock, and take some pictures because it's very nice. And the lighting is really pretty here too. So I think I might do that, and then we'll continue down right to the water because we're so close now. He just got all tangled in his leash and I let go and he went for a run. So we are now much closer to the water, but it's super pretty over here. I think we might actually go into the water and just see how deep it is. It's coming in fairly quickly, but I'm quite sure we're not going to get stranded over here. We're just gonna go in for a quick little dip. I think I'll use my zoom to see if I can get a better shot for you. There's a sailboat out in the distance and just lots of water in the Pacific Ocean coming on into this estuary. So we're in the water now. It's actually a lot cooler than I would have expected, maybe because this area is pretty shaded from these trees, but I'm not really gonna go right into the middle. I think this is enough for me for today. The sand is a little bit squishy here, so you do have to be careful, but it's been a lovely walk so far. I always love coming down to the ocean, and I wish you could smell it. The sea air is so fresh and refreshing and so good for your lungs. If you ever get a chance to go down to the ocean wherever you are, I highly recommend going down to your beach. If you live near the ocean, it is such a luxury to be able to come down to places like this. And if you don't live near the ocean, if you ever get a chance to travel, I highly recommend any destination where there's an ocean. Oceans are magical places, and I think everyone needs to experience an ocean in their lifetime if that's possible. I'm very lucky to have been born on this beautiful island, so this is literally the only place that I've ever called home. I've never left Vancouver Island my whole life. Growing in the ocean. Just spotted this pretty wild rose blooming right beside the parking lot where we parked, and I just had to show you because it's so lovely and I just love roses. This little man is going to have a quick drink before we go. So right now you are in the area of the yard that I created this spring, and I was calling it the secret garden. There's a bunch of fairy gardens in here, a lot of flowers, a lot of solar ornamental things. And I'm going to give this bush a trim. I never planted this bush, but it comes from our neighbor's side of the fence. You can see it over there. I believe it's called a Thimbleberry, which is, I think, native on Vancouver Island, a native species, and it just takes over everything. It roots under our fence, so I really can't get rid of it. I'm going to give it a hard pruning. I have 3 containers or more under here with fairy gardens in them, and you can't even see them. I wanted to film a little secret garden video here with like the daytime flowers and then the nighttime lights. But at this point, I don't really want to film in here because it's kind of messy and overgrown, and my poor sunflowers are not getting enough water. This situation is just not good. So I've got my clippers and a bucket, and we're going to just do a little pruning. I can finally actually see my little fairy gardens, so things are looking up. there's still a lot more to prune. Oops. I accidentally pruned a sunflower, but it wasn't looking so good anyway, so probably nothing really lost there. Whoa, 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 whoa. I have to say, this is very satisfying. Whenever you're taking a big chunk of plant and cutting it away, it feels so good. You know you're like helping the plant out tremendously. And you can see the progress you're making, so that makes it feel very rewarding. Whoops, another sunflower. I think we're only gonna let 2 of them live on, maybe 3. These poor crispy sunflowers. I'll just take off some of the crispiness. After all my pruning, I just found a healthy and lush sunflower in this pot, so I'm super excited. These guys, the only survivors, are not super healthy and lush, but somehow the shade from this plant seemed to keep this sunflower in really good condition. Here's a little look at the after from my pruning. You can actually see there are little containers and fairy gardens in here. These were some of the first fairy gardens I ever made. Well, the fairy gardens do need a little tidy up. They're not looking terrible considering it's been a few months since I created them. Could probably give the sunflowers a little water and my gladioli some water. I think things are actually looking pretty good overall. When I film my little secret garden nighttime and daytime video, I'm going to include the link to what this area looked like when I first started creating the garden and what it looks like now, so people can see what it looked like originally. So I think that's all I'm gonna do for today's vlog. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday and I go back to work tomorrow, so it's probably gonna be a pretty short vlog tomorrow, but we'll see what we get up to.